All right, five-step process to closing deals, ingredients of successful deals. So, the life of a businessman is a life of deals. I think Donald Trump wrote a book called The Art of Making the Deal. And deals are just transactions. They're transactions, transaction packages, packages of transactions. So basically, you know, your you have a product or a service that you're selling, and then you're making deals. So, but I wanted to use the term deal because I wanted us to go like head straight into the hardcore of business and transactions. So in the previous videos we talked about the three pillars of sales: transaction, trust, and common ground are those. And these are the pillars, but how exactly do you do it? How exactly do you close deals? How exactly do you make sales and grow a business and scale it? Well, this video is going to go in depth. So this is a deep dive into knowing how to make deals. So the center of sales is conversations, negotiations. But communication is probably one of the most important skill professionally, outside of the boundaries of professions, in our everyday life, everywhere, because every single second of the day we are communicating, whether it's verbal, whether it's through body language, whether it's through the way behaviors, language, verbal, written, we are communicating to our partners, we are to communicating to our parents, we are communicating to our friends, our kids, our sisters or brothers. We are always negotiating, we are always conversing with people, we are always doing all kinds of sorts of communication. It's very interesting how conversations has some similarity to conversion, because you can only convert people through conversations. It's a medium of conversing people, of converting people into a one state to the other. So one person was in a state of being a prospect. Now they are no longer a prospect, they are now a customer, a purchaser. So that happens only through communication. And if you don't have sharp communication skills, the ability to communicate, transfer messages, ideas through the medium of communication, to the other person's mind or world or realm or space, then there is a very hard time that you're going to have in business, because it's all about negotiations, it's all about communication. And this video is going to help you at least, up it a notch, your communication skills or your ability, at least give you frameworks that you can use to be an amazing negotiator, an amazing communicator. Now, the first step to making deals is understanding the three dimensions of negotiations. The three dimensions of the negotiations are setup, structure, and discussions. Setup, structure, and discussion. Now, the first thing to decide before you walk into any negotiation is what to do if the other fellow says no. I think there's someone who said if you're not ready to walk away, don't walk in. This is the baseline. I told you, frameworks. So if you see very well here on this drawing, the startup growth infrastructure, conversations are the center of sales. And right, so the way you execute that, you start by understanding dimensions of negotiation. And it starts with a setup. Now, in the setup, there's this rule that says, if you're not ready to walk away, don't walk in. Now, the setup. So the setup involves setting a stage for a positive outcome of the negotiation. The environment factors play a huge role in the negotiation. So it pays to do appropriate research to gain as much knowledge as possible about your negotiating partner. It's, who is involved, who are you negotiating with, what are you proposing, what's the setting, what are your environmental factors. The setup. So the setup is the background. What is the background information do you know about the person? What are you going to negotiate about? Are you prepared? Are you ready? Can you fluently explain what the other partner does if they have already shared what they do? So that's the setup. So when there is no setup, it's like setting up. It's like setting the table upon which or on which the conversations are going to happen. Do you know your materials? Do you understand very well the terms of this negotiation? That's the setup. Now, after setup, discussion. This discussion is actually presenting the offer to the other party. This is where you work on the details, remove barrier to purchase, and more. Discussion continues until the parties reach an engagement or quit negotiating. There's something we mentioned in the previous video called common ground. So common ground is found through discussions. So discussion is you're basically talking about, so you have set the background, you understand the other party, you understand the terms, you understand what is going to be done. Now discussion is sharing, presenting the work that is going to be done or presenting the terms to the other party. And then also during the discussion, that's where you're going to encounter the barriers to purchase. And how do you overcome those barriers? We'll see how to overcome objections during this video. Number 2 is discussion. Number 3, structure. Structure is the terms of proposal. By thinking on the structure of your proposal in advance, you can have valuable options for your partner to consider, even eventually reach common ground. As I was saying, so the structure is basically, okay, how are we going to transact? What are the terms upon which are we, through which, what are the frameworks of transacting or making the deal? You have a setup, background information, discussion, you're presenting the terms, and now the next thing is understanding and mastering a bit, understanding basically the terms and how can you find a common ground without compromising your value and walking away saying this was the best piece of the puzzle that we got. I think conversations and finding the process of I think conversation is basically a process of finding common ground. And when you have proper conversations, when you understand the structures, it's so much easier to reach a common ground. Many people miss deals or they fail to get deals because there was no way. They did not know how to find a common ground because they did not understand the terms. Their terms, the reason why you need to master the terms, especially if you're negotiating on behalf of someone else, it's because you know how far people can are allowed to compromise. Your company is allowed to compromise or is willing to compromise so that the other party walk away with a deal. Remember, the purpose of a business is sales. You want to make sales. Sales are what the purpose of a company is to solve a problem. You're solving a problem, but for that to happen, sales have to happen. Sales are the sustainer. So you have an amazing product. You need sales because sales are what sustains and signals that what you're serving is actually right. It's a mean to an end, but it's a main mean to an end. It's the chief. It's the chief. It's the biggest component, the most important component of a business. The goal of a business is to solve a problem, but the biggest component of solving a problem and keep solving the problem, how do you know that you're solving the problem, is when you're making sales. If you're not making sales, then you need to change it. You need to adjust something. So you need to master the structure of your deal and then walk in when you're ready to know, okay, how far can we push this thing without compromising profit? So most people think of negotiation as sitting down across from the other party and presenting offers and counter offers. But that's the last phase of the process. The other two happen well before you ever sit down at negotiating tables. So negotiations that doesn't happen in the room. It happened before. Remember the setup, remember the structure, those are the key things. You understand the terms, you have the right terms, and then you understand also, okay, how do I present this in such a way that people are going to be receptive and understanding, and then we make a deal. So make sure that you walk in well prepared. There are five principles of selling: prospecting, which means finding the right customers for what you're selling; establishing contact, which means contacting them or presenting or being in the space where they are. Because there are different strategies of contacting customers. You can contact the customer by just being there so that you're accessible by them. They can see what you're doing, they can access what you're doing, they can view your videos, they can see your ads and everything. That's a form of establishing. When Pepsi or Coca-Cola run ads on TV commercials, or Heineken, we are able to be in contact with Heineken or Coca-Cola without them contacting us. Three, qualify the customer. Very important. We talked about this. Don't sell your product to anyone, because if you sell your product to everyone, then you risk to be in a position where you're like, okay, I'm not selling the right product. No, sometimes you're selling it to the wrong people. Okay. But if it's the right people, if this is the right person that you found and they're not interested in your product or what you're selling, then it's time maybe to adjust. Handle objections. Know how to handle objections. Because don't expect that you're going to make a sale without any form of objections. There are going to be objections, but the question is, how do you handle them? Now, step five, principle five, close the deal. Okay, so we'll see how to do that. The principles that you use, the techniques. So make sure that you think through the setup, you understand the structure, and frame your proposal. Now, also, the reason why structure is very important is because it allows us to put a frame on the proposal. Say, okay, these are the boundaries of the proposal. Okay, so what's your plan walking into the discussion? How can you prepare as thoroughly for this negotiation as possible, given your available time? This is what we were talking about. Now, number two is pricing. Okay, rules of pricing. The number one rule of pricing is called pricing uncertainty. The pricing uncertainty principle states that all prices are arbitrary and malleable. Pricing is an executive decision. You can charge whatever you want. Keep in mind that in general, people prefer to pay as little as possible for what they want. So pricing uncertainty, basically, what you need to understand about prices is that so if prices are malleable, you can negotiate a better price, right? You can negotiate a better price. And because you know that you can negotiate a better price, it's easy to walk in a negotiation with a mind of like, okay, I don't care the terms that they are brought on the table, we can always walk around them. Okay, so if you have that kind of mindset, then you're 100% sure that you understand that, but this is a rule, it's a law. And because prices are uncertain, then you walk in with the mindset that says, okay, we are going to negotiate the terms, we're going to bend the terms and make sure that we walk away with the right deal with the other party as well. So that's how the game is played. And for people who don't understand this principle, they go in deals and they walk away with not so many, not so great deals, because they don't know that every single prices by nature, they are malleable. So they can be played with. They can be adjusted in such a way that it matches the needs of the customer and everything. So there are four pricing methods that you need to be aware of when you're pricing your product. Number one is replacement cost. This is a method that supports a price by answering the question, how much will it cost to replace? Okay. So let's say you design the product. Now, I always ask founders, so how much is this going to cost? Let's say $150. And how did you get to that price exactly? How did you get to that price? And they're like, yeah, we just yeah, thought we were like, okay, that's fine. Now, that answer is no longer valid because now you don't have to give me that excuse again. Don't give that excuse again that the only thing you use to determine the price is just imagining the price, because I'm about to show you how to determine the price. Okay, the price of your product. What are the references that you can use to determine the right price for your product? Number one is replacement cost method. So it basically you're answering, okay, how much would it cost to replace this product? In this case of the house, the question becomes, what would it cost to create or construct a house just like this one? Okay. So let's say you're selling a service, and then you're like, okay, if they were to replace this service with something else, how much would that cost? If the cost of replacement is high, then it means you have something valuable. I'll give you an example. The cost of replacing, just imagine if had we not had video conference tools during COVID, what would have happened? People would have gone and flew back to maybe like companies to not close doors. They would have decided, okay, we are going to all gather in Rwanda or in Dubai, and we will be working from there. So the company would have covered everything from hotels, accommodation, everything, every single expenditure. But Zoom was there, Google Meet was there. So the replacement cost of Google Meet is so high that people had no other option. They were like, you know what? We'll pay $100 for Zoom every month. It's it's cheaper than paying a $20,000 every month for a company that is residing in a city. So replacement cost. Number two, market comparison. How much are other things like it selling for? How much are your competitors selling it for? Okay. So you can say, okay, my competitors are selling it for 15. I can sell it for, 14.5 because I'm starting, maybe higher. If you're targeting something that is going to be status signal based. You remember the status signal based, the needs? People need to signal status. They need to show that, yeah, I've got something, please pay attention. So market comparison. You can use market comparison to determine your price. Okay, so replacement cost, you can say, okay, it was going to replace my solution is going to cost you $300, but my solution is only $15. That's 5%. Insane, unbelievable. So people are going to buy it, of course. Three, discounted cash flow or net present value. How much is it worth if it can bring in more over time, bring in money over time? Okay. So if you were to, let's say you're buying an apartment and you're like, okay, what is the net present value of the apartment? And then you say, oh my God, okay, I'm purchasing it for maybe 50K, $50,000, but this apartment is going to bring in $5,000 every month. So it means technically I can pay it in 10 months and I own it forever. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. But if the net present value or discounted cash flow are really bad, then you know find a way to adjust the price. So you don't have to use these methods, um, all of them at once, but you can play around with them. You can use most of them. Out of four, like use three, just to make sure that okay, at least it matches with this method. Sometimes you can use one. It's also fine. but make sure that at least you know one that you can defend and say, okay, we've used the discounted cash flow method to determine the price, or we've used, for instance, market comparison, or we've used replacement cost to determine the price. Now, the value comparison method, who is this particularly valuable to? Like, I think I've given this example for so many times. If you're selling status, there are people who value status. If you're selling, let's say, cars, or if you're selling houses, if you're selling services, if you have a startup, who is this going to be valuable to? Students? Is it going to be valuable to job seekers? Is it going to be valuable to parents? Is it going to be valuable to teachers, to schools, to corporates? What features of your product would make it valuable to certain types of people? Remember, qualifying people. The reason why you want to qualify customers after so the customers choose the product to buy, but usually what happens, that's step one. Step zero is the business identifying the people who they are going to sell to. You choose who you want to sell to, and you say, okay, this feature is going to be valuable to this specific group of people. And then you can say, okay, all right, I'm going to now put together a package for this group of people, and then see how they react. So the value comparison method is also another method to set the price, because you can say, okay, this group of people cannot really afford this. So I wish I could sell this for $100, but because of the group we are targeting, don't even think about it. Just put it on $20. That's why you need to know these pricing methods, because if you don't have a framework, then you're going to wobble, and you don't want to be in a spot where they ask you, okay, so how did you determine the price? And you're not able to say anything. So take a note of that. So the questions about the for pricing method: what prices are you currently asking for your offer? How are you supporting that price? Exactly. How do you explain? How did you come about that price? Okay. Is it feasible to raise the price by supporting that price that price differently? Sometimes I've also noticed that depending on the type of customers that you're serving, they don't care about money. They're like, okay, so long as you're providing value and you're amazing us, we don't care. We give you the money, and that's the best market to serve. It's not always available, but that's the best one. Now, there's something to be aware of, to be careful of when you're shifting prices. It's called price transition shock. So the price transition shock happens when you change the price of an offer and the effects aren't limited to your current target market. Often you will experience a sudden shift in the target market you offer appeals to a price transition shock. A change in prices can change your typical prospect overnight. So you might be selling something, let's say, for $10, and then you jump the price to $30. All of a sudden you've changed the price, but the pricing part, the purchasing power of the customers have not changed. So they are going to be a shock a little bit, unless it's intentional. If it's intentional and you want to transition the price, and automatically you upgrade your target market, that's fine. But if it's not intentional, just get ready for it. It's going to happen. Or if you lower the price, some people lose clients when they lower the price. They lose clients when they lower the price because some clients are like, I can't buy this. If it's not at a given price benchmark, then it's not the right price. It's not the right product for me. I don't think it's that good. If it's not expensive, it might not be even that good. So there's that shock that you have to be prepared to get ready for when you are changing prices. Now, there are 20 secrets of successful selling that I'm going to go through very quickly because they're self-explanatory. And I think I'm going to do I'm going to do more other videos, like shorter videos, like 5 to 10 minutes, where I'm explaining like these concepts in depth, so that we get to understand them, we get to know them, we get to see how we can apply them. But the 20 secrets of successful selling are loving your customer, being excited of your solution, listening, asking questions, educating your customer, make an offer to those who are already excited, loving the word no because it means next opportunity. See 20 people every day, belly to belly. So you can do that belly to belly or online. Okay. 7 non-referral prospecting techniques. It's in a book called Mastering the Art of Selling, page 162. Be prepared. The 17-minute rule before boredom kicks in. Very important. So you speak to people until 17 minutes and then boredom kicks in. Get a client to relax. Quality before selling. Ask questions, current challenges, current wins. Objections, don't rebuttal them. Embrace them with empathy. Very important. I, and this is a very huge problem that I've seen that many founders have, especially when they come for consultations or when we are training them. There's just a feeling that you feel that there's a form of resistance where people are not like open to feedback. They're like, yeah, this is what I want to do, but you know what? No, please be open to feedback. Okay. Closing is helping people make decisions. Um, ask questions when closing. Thank you notes, negative closing, puppy dog effect. Where you give. I think the puppy dog effect. Puppy dog effect is similar to free trial. Okay, so where you give people things to go and try it. Okay, now another way that you can also close is showing people that by denying you the service, by not buying your service, they're denying themselves an opportunity to grow. So you have to make sure that people understand that this is not about you, it's about them. That's the secret to selling. It's not about you, it's about them. If they don't want to buy the product, you're not the one losing. They're the one losing because they're missing on this product. Eh, People are going to buy it anyway. You're not going to stop doing what you're doing because that person did not buy. But can their lives stop? Can they lose? Are they losing something for because they did not buy something from you? So take these, apply them to your business. I just wanted to go through them really quickly, but I'm going to do a video on this, specifically on this, so that we understand them, in much more elaborated or detailed way. Now, number three or step three to selling or closing the deal is three universal currencies. So there are three universal currencies that people are always negotiating over: resources, which means money, raw material, infrastructure; number two, time; and number three, flexibility. By understanding and balancing these currencies, you can identify the right trade-off and find common ground. So when you're negotiating, you have to constantly think, okay, are they thinking about resources, time, or flexibility? Because we all lose one of these to acquire the two. You you sell your time to an employer so that you can gain access to resources and flexibility, money flexibility. Or sometimes you forsake your flexibility so that you can have time and resources. Or sometimes you give out your resources, okay, so that you can have time and flexibility. Or you can give up your resources so that you can have time and flexibility, or give up your time so that you can have resources and flexibility. So so the key is to creatively mix these elements to craft an agreement that satisfies all parties. Okay. The, so you have to so when someone is presenting an argument, they are saying, okay, like, where is what am I going to gain here? Because is it time, is it resources, is it flexibility and resources, is it time and resources, is it resources and flexibility? uh, and once you understand that, you can easily navigate the negotiation space with ease and with confidence. Let's say, someone says, okay, yeah, this is really an amazing house. um I love it, but it's just the money is a little bit high. Okay. So why do you think the money is high? Like, why can't you? Why do you think the house is not worth that money? Maybe they can say, yeah, so there's no flexibility, but I'm willing to compromise if I can get if you can reduce the price, I can buy it and then resell it. Or you can, or I can buy it on, because it has been on the market for a very long time, I can buy it and pay you the amount of money that you want, but in phases. So that's the flexibility that they are looking for. Okay, so when you're thinking, think of, okay, these guys that we are negotiating, okay, can I give them more resources, more flexibility, more time? Okay, so by telling them, okay, maybe they can say, look, um I don't want to buy this house, it's this and so and so and so and so, and then you can tell them, or a car, or you can tell them, look, there's no problem, you can pay it on a monthly basis. Just by proposing them that you've given them time, you given them resources and flexibility. Okay, yeah. So now the money is going to come. Sorry, the money is going to be paid, but at least they have the time. Okay, and they have the flexibility to pay over time. But the resources, you've gotten the money. Okay, or in that case, you can tell them, okay, if you love this house so much, then you have to pay right now. You have to pay that right now. So right away, you've given them flexibility. You've given them flexibility, and they have given you the resources that they wanted. So keep playing around this. And when someone is rejecting an offer that you're proposing, or when you're having these discussions with investors, constantly ask yourself, okay, how can I give them? Am I going to give them resources, more time? If they're going to part with their resources, they need time and flexibility. Okay, so, or if they are willing to give up their flexibility, they're going to gain a return, a higher return. But these are the main fundamentals that you need to uh, always know, that these are the currencies that people are thinking in their minds when they're negotiating. Now, step 4 is making an offer. Now, so principles and strategies to have an exceptional offer. Principle number 1, value-based selling. When you're selling, focus on the value. Don't focus on the features, focus on the value. This is why um, car adverts don't advertise the color of the engine or what. They talk about speed, comfortability, ease of use, flexibility, utility. That's where you want to focus. Value based selling. Don't sell the features, sell the benefits. Talk about the experience. How are they going to feel when they're using your product? How are they going to feel when they work with you? Focus on that. When you focus on that, then people are able to say, oh, you know what? This guy is actually speaking our language. Because remember, pain is not logic, it's a feeling. When you're feeling something, when you're faced by a problem, you are feeling the pain. So when you're so what prompts a buyer, this is very important. So what prompts a buyer to buy is a pain. Let me give you. So let's say you sell bread. Everyone who comes to you to buy bread, they're not buying bread, they are buying suppressing hunger. They are buying a benefit. So when you are selling, you sell that. So when you're advertising for a bakery, so let's say you have a bakery for, like, you sell like desserts, cakes, and everything. Why do people buy those things? It's because they want to feel good. They want to feel, oh my God, they like after eating, a cinnamon roll, or after eating a donut, or after eating, I don't know, like, lemon cake, all kinds of cakes. How are people going to feel? Why do people buy it? We buy them. We buy those, sweet things because we want to feel great. We want to quench that, need of a sugar rush or feeling excited. All right, cool. Now, when I'm advertising for the bakery, I have to show people who are feeling the way they want to feel. So people who are just, you just ate a cake, you feel so good. Okay, that's the feeling we sell. We sell feelings. We don't sell the features. We don't say, this cake is made of that. No, people don't know. People don't want to know that. They just want to know that you can give them the feeling that they buy. People buy experiences. They don't buy the benefits, the features. Sorry, the features. Education based selling. So you empower so you remember the levels of awareness. So the to move someone from being completely unaware all the way to being fully aware is education. People ask themselves, okay, why do content creators make a lot of money, or why do online businesses make a lot of money? It's because they educate people. If I watch 8 hours of your video, and there's a rule by Daniel Priestley called the 7-11 4 rule. So it says that for someone to buy from you, they need to watch 7 hours of content, 11 touch points at different four locations. It could be on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on WhatsApp, in person. Okay, 11 points of interaction. They have seen you pop up somewhere, they have seen you on a magazine, they have seen you here. Like, remember what I told you earlier, like the trust, establishing trust. How do you establish trust? Showing up. How do you show up? Be everywhere. Status groups, communities, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, everywhere. X, be there. Educate people about your business. Educate people about the problem they're facing. So when the customer gain clarity and insight, you build trust and naturally increase interest in your offer. That's how you do it. How do you establish trust with your customers? This is why people ask that. I keep seeing these videos on YouTube where they're like saying like these creators have scammed people and everything. Why do you think they do it and it works? It's because they are there. When you watch videos of, like hundreds and hundreds of videos, someone who has produced those videos, and you're like, how is that possible? How is that possible? Okay, I'm going to go and watch this guy. So you watch those guys, and then you watch for like, you know, I don't know, 20 hours worth of content, 30 hours worth of content, 40, 50, 60, 100 hours of content, and you go ahead and you click on that link because you're like, oh my God, if he has shown up for this long, he might be legit. I'm not saying that everyone who produces videos are legit, but there's a power of showing up. Today, it's very easy to show up because earlier in the day, earlier in the years, very, very like a decade ago, a couple of decades ago, the only way to show up was to buy a billboard. Buying billboards it's very expensive. You don't have a billboard. Your social media is your billboard. Your social media is literally, treat it like a billboard. Tell the world what you want them to know about you. Educate them about what you can offer. When you do that, people will start contacting you. If no one is contacting you, it means you're not educating people about the problem. You're posting about other things, but you're not helping people understand the problem that they're having. So once that's out of the way, the third strategy is the next best alternative. Know the next best alternative. So then the MBA is your backup plan if you can't reach an agreement. Keep in mind the other party also has one. By understanding their next best alternative, you can craft an offer that's more appealing than their next option. So you need to know, okay, if they don't buy from me, do they have any other choice? I like to put it this way. I love competing in games or in spaces where I'm like, good luck competing with this offer because I'm like, I'm the best in this space. Okay. So that's why I'm always preparing for the optimizing for the next best alternative because I'm like, I'm going to produce videos that are so amazing that even if someone tries to compete me, they're not going to reach my level. Even if people who follow me on social media or the people that I mentor and train, they want to find the next best and alternative of a mentor, they won't find anyone because that one, I'm also past them. So that's why you need to know. I think business is a game of excellence. And it just pushes you, enterprise pushes you to be good at what you do. It pushes you to be the best. It pushes you to constantly beat the next best alternatives of your customers. Do you know how hard that is? The level of discipline it takes to constantly beat the next best alternative for a customer is just mind blowing. The discipline, the dedication, you just can't be average. unless you want to have like an average business. But average businesses don't survive, they don't thrive. All right. Number four is exclusivity. So it gives you a powerful advantage. Okay, by offering something unique that others can't replicate, you position yourself as the only viable option for a prospect when there's no, direct outsaying. So the key to exclusivity is excellence. Excellence. And you see that companies that serve people excellently, they don't have unlimited supply of what they offer. I'll give you an example. Rolls Royces, they have like limited editions. They don't print them. And if you want one, you go to the factory and then they make you one for you. Because at the level of detail, the excellence that goes through it to build that car cannot be duplicated, cannot be replicated, cannot be put, it can't be just on a factory line. It's too good for that, too exclusive for that. Similar to luxury watches, similar to jewelries, similar to anything that you can think of, any brand that is exclusive, that is high-end luxury brand or very high quality brands, they have exclusive options, limited editions. You will see that, yeah, limited editions. That's what they say, limited editions. When limited editions means to produce this, it's very expensive. It costs us a lot. So be that. Build that kind of business where customers are like, oh my god, it's limited. We can't get in. Okay? Association. So, the human minds work in. We always want to associate ourselves with something. That's why people buy luxury brands, Louis Vuitton, Dolce and Gabbana. That's why people buy Yves Saint Laurent and other luxury brands, or Gucci and these other brands. It's not because they have high quality things. It's because they want to be associated with that. And when you're making an offer, it's good to associate your offer with something people can relate to. That's why people say this is the Uber of Kigali, and this is the Instagram of Africa. This is the Alibaba of East Africa, things like that. Because when you connect products, when you use association, it's very easy. People understand it. So these are strategies, guys. These are strategies you use when you're making an offer. Very, very important, very crucial. Buffer. So now, buffers are agents, are middlemen. You might, build a product and you realize, for instance, something like insurance, something like real estate, car dealerships, and other projects that requires the customer to go through a series of options. You might need a buffer. Okay. But when you're using a buffer, be careful, because you want a middleman who is not obsessed with commission. You can pay them a flat fee. Okay, I know it's very hard sometimes, but you can pay them a flat fee and have them implement without thinking of, okay, if this customer buys, I'm going to get more commission. This one doesn't get, does that. If this one buys, I get more commission. You don't want to be, so avoid this. Choose a buffer who accept a flat fee, ensuring their interests are aligned with yours regardless of the outcome, so that they make money whether you make it or not. Okay, because you don't want, if you don't use this rule, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're not landing qualified customers. You're landing, what you want is not a paying customer, it's a qualified customer. Okay, that's what you want. Once that's there, then you can say, okay, yeah, we have at least qualified customers. We know we can work with them. Then you can work together to find a common ground and then close the deal. Reciprocation is the natural human tendency to give back when we receive something. It's a core driver of cooperation. Okay. So in sales, you need to be generous. And that's why coming back to the influencer creator era, where people are like, how are these influencers creators building multi-million dollar businesses? It's because they give a lot. We give a lot, guys. We give a lot. I'm recording these videos, you're going to watch them for free. This infrastructure, it's not free. You're going to pay for me to implement it in your business, but I'm giving out information for free. So we give a lot. So when you give a lot, people are compelled. They feel compelled to give back. People have been asking me, so really, when are you charging us? Do you have something we can buy? I'm like, okay, I'm working on it. But what you need to understand is the more you give, the more you put people in a tough spot where they're like, we need to reciprocate. So make sure that you give and give and give and give and give, and then people are going to be compelled to give you back. But if you have given people nothing, that's why companies sponsor events, they do all of that kind of work, because they know that it signals that they're giving to society. When you give to society, society is compelled to give you back. Now, number 8 is option fatigue. Don't give your customers too much options. If you're selling something, give them limited 3 options. You can do this, you can do that, you can do that. If it's payment, you can pay a one-time fee or installment. That's it. Not 8 options, because they're going to be fatigued. Okay. Reactivation. So reactivation is another interesting strategy to use to go back to the customers that have purchased from you in the past and reactivate them. Tell them, hey, this is something we worked together in the past, and we have an interesting, more interesting offer. Can you be interested in the reason why this is very great, it's a great strategy, is because the customer acquisition is very minimal. You don't need to pay a lot of money to them so that you don't need to advertise. They kind of know how you work. If you've worked really well together, they have a high regard for you, and you're not going to have trouble working with them or acquiring them. Now, risk number 9 is risk reversal. It's a strategy where the seller takes on some of the transaction risk, promising to make things right if the buyer isn't satisfied. This is very important. It's like there's another one is so there's option fatigue, or there's another one. There's another one called it's in objection handling. You need to de-risk a deal. You tell them, if it doesn't work, money back guarantee. If you think that this is not what you're looking for, we can give you back them. If the product doesn't work, bring it back. We are going to fix it for you. No one wants to take risks. No. It Everyone wants to be like, well, how can I minimize these risks to 0%? That's what everyone wants. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to face a lot of objections when you're selling. Now, how do you overcome those objections? Strategy number 1, persuasion resistance. One reason prospects often feel uneasy around salespeople is the fear of being pressured or manipulated into decision that doesn't deserve their best interest. So this triggers reactance. Reactance happens when a prospect senses you're trying to force a decision, causing them to instinctively pull away. Desperation signals low trust, chasing signals danger. The best approach, show up with quiet confidence. The best, the first strategy to overcoming objection is quiet confidence. People feel energies, guys. This is what you need to know. People feel energies. And when you're desperate, people can smell it from very far. When you're secure in your offer, people feel it. And trust me, people want to work with secure people, because they know if I'm secure, what the mind is signaling to them is like, this guy is confident. If he's confident, it means the product is good. If the product is good, it means my money is worth it. So if my money was worth it, I'm going to experience whatever I want to experience. So beware of reactance. Reactance is a panic mode where people are like, it's resisting persuasion. So resisting the offer. And that happens because they are feeling danger, they're feeling that you lack confidence, or they feel like they're about to be pushed into. This is why quiet confidence is very, very, very good, very, very critical. It's because confidence inspires trust and peace and security. So they feel like they're secure, their money is secure, then they're ready to go. So, and when customers feel like this, they might even feel like this, and then you remain quiet, you remain confident, and you show them that, yeah, I understand that you're feeling this way, and this is actually the reason why you're feeling that way, and help them de-risk the offer. I think it's what we're talking about here. Okay, risk reversal. Help them reverse the risk. That's what entrepreneurs do. So when you sense that, you remain confident, and then you de-risk the offer. How do you de-risk the offer? Showing them that their money is secure with you. If it doesn't work, they can get their money back. They might not get their time back, but at least they know that they have come in contact with someone that they're going to need in the future, and a potential partner. Now, there are 5 standards to sales objections. Loss aversion, it costs too much. Spending feels like a loss. Doubt, it won't work. Personal relevance, it won't work for me. Delay, I can wait. Complexity, it's too difficult. Okay. Now, if you remember well, this ties into the economic valuables. Those things of efficiency, speed, reliability, aesthetics, it falls into this. People are actually, it's actually, the more you study sales, you realize that when you're selling, you're dealing with a computer, which is a human brain. And if you don't know the right buttons to press, you're going to trigger things that you don't need. A computer might be fine, but if you press wrong keys, it will give you an alert. So you need to know, how do you handle these objections. Objection number one: loss aversion. Use framing and value based. Okay, when they start panicking about losing money and everything, show them the value, how valuable the product is. Selling to show that the value outweighs the price. Don't show the cost, show the value. Number 2 and 3, doubt and personal relevance. Use social proof and referrals to show how others have succeeded. Okay? Show them that there are people who are using it. Now, also be ethical as well. Objection 4 and 5, delay and complexity. Use education based selling to make the customer aware of the problem and help them visualize the benefits in taking action. I think this sums up pretty much everything, because if you have educated people, you're aware of their level of awareness. And again, most objections, guys, if you we do like a quick recap on these objections, the sales objections, they are all tied to the value the value the level of awareness of a customer. And that pyramid of levels of awareness. So the lower the customer is, the higher the objections are going to be, the more the objections, because they don't understand. If you've educated someone, if people are at least at level 3, where they're like, okay, we are aware of the problem and the solution, and we need that, or at least they're aware of the problem. If they're aware of the problem, then it won't feel like it's costing too much. It won't feel like it won't work. If they still feel like that, at least you can educate them. That's when education based selling comes in the strategies to make an offer. If you're making an offer and you've not educated people, then they're not going to get it. That's why in insurance, people use buffer. Guys, these are like the reason why I love this infrastructure so much, is because it just brings together all concepts, the business concepts together, and then helps you implement them wisely like a professional. The reason why insurance uses buffer, it's because There are so many things. The role of the insurance agents is to educate the customer about the insurance policies. And then once they are well educated about the insurance policies, then they can go ahead and say, oh, okay, we'll choose this one. Education based selling, people need to be aware of, okay, these are the policies. And this is, I think it's an honest mistake that many businesses make, is to assume that people know what they're selling. It's like saying, it's saying, okay, dude, like, come on, they know what I'm selling. No, they don't. Dude, they don't. Trust me, they don't. Educate them. Tell them what you do. This is what we're and let me tell you something. If you explain to people what you do, you educate people about what you do. Even if I know what you do and I don't buy, that's fine. Your content is living rent free in my head. If I meet someone who is in need, dire need of what you offer, I'll tell them, dude, these guys, man, they offer something that is similar to what you need. And I saw them on LinkedIn. I think all problems comes down to the 7-11 4 rule of Daniel Priestley, that 7 hours of content at least. Do you have 7 hours of content out there that I can go and consume, read, immerse myself into? Are there 11 touch points? What comes up? What pops up when I Google your name in Google? What is it? So you get what I mean, right? Okay. Now, another strategy of overcoming objection is damaging admissions. So admitting that your product is not too perfect, is not perfect. It has flaws. You're still working on it. Uh, you don't know everything, and in fact, that's why they should buy it, so that they give you feedback. How about that? Because people are going to be like, "Oh, yeah, nice. Okay, okay, okay. We should give this guy a shot because he's honest. He has said, okay, this is what I'm trying to work on, and I'm looking for feedback. It's not yet perfect, but yeah, there is we are willing to improve the product and make it better. Damaging admissions. Option fatigue. I think we've mentioned that. Don't offer too many options, and this is what we just covered. 3 dimensions of negotiations, pricing methods, the currencies, and then the strategies to overcome objections and make and structure amazing, unresistible offers. So I hope this was helpful to you. It was helpful. And go ahead and implement them in your business. Like the video, share it with your colleagues, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.